Coming up in today's food adventure, I have one message. If you love your taste buds, give them Filipino food. It is probably the best bite of food I've had this year. I'm talking bold, rich flavors that are always balanced to perfection, and cooking techniques I've never seen or heard of before. This is salt. It is the coolest salt I've ever seen in my life. Everything about this country, from the food to the people, feels like a warm hug, and this is a trip that was special to me for so many reasons. So I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed making it.
Hello, and welcome to a very exciting international food adventure. I'm coming to you from Manila, the capital of the Philippines. Honestly, a place that hasn't really been on my radar of places to visit, but I really regret that mindset. Do not make my mistake. You have to visit Manila. I have completely fallen in love with the city, the warmth of the people. The food is spectacular. This is not the beginning of my food adventure. I've already been in food adventuring for a good few days now. I've been here food adventuring with the Michelin Guide, the coolest collaboration ever. I'm so honored to have had this opportunity.
Basically, the Michelin Guide recently announced its inaugural Philippine selection, and they invited me to Manila to host an episode for their YouTube channel where I ate my way through the guide's picks. It was such a special experience, and it also gave me the chance to dive deeper into Filipino food than I ever have before.
I mean, it's not my first time in the Philippines. I was here 2 years ago. It's a very special place for me because it was here in the Philippines that Derek and I actually got engaged. Last time we were definitely eating local. We had our first trip to Jollibee's, which is just like something you'd have to do here in the Philippines. Also fell in love with something called bangsalog.
It's basically a classic Filipino breakfast made with fried milkfish, garlic fried rice, a fried egg, and zesty calamansi. Derek and I had it at least 6 times. We were obsessed.
I mean, I thought I knew what that was, but turns out bangsalog is just one in a whole umbrella term of salogs. And actually my first breakfast that I had with the Michelin Guide was going to Roddick's Diner and learning more about salog dishes.
At its core, salog is a simple combo of garlic rice and fried egg plus some kind of protein. That protein is what gives the dish its name. For example, bangsalog is salog with bungus or milkfish, where bacon salog is, well, salog with bacon.
For the shoot, we just showed the tapsilog, which is what they're famous for here, but I'm really into this salog concept, so we're also going to go for a bacon salog and also a long salog, which is like a sausage. As you can imagine, garlicky, eggy, a little bit fatty from the bacon and the sausages. So a little bit of freshness. You get a chili. You add some of this vinegar because I like it spicy. I like to break up the chili.
Then you basically pour it all over your breakfast.
It's like a Filipino take on bacon and eggs on toast. I love the addition of the sourness because it's quite a rich breakfast with all the garlicky, eggy, fatty flavors from the bacon. So having a bit of vinegar is really helping to break up all of that. Let's check out this sausage.
Oh, it's like a peppery risol sausage. I love that.
I think I even like that better than the bacon one.
But yeah, essentially breakfast of champions.
I've collected so much behind the scenes footage from my time with the Michelin Guide, but I'm on my own now. We finished up filming yesterday, and my first stop on today's food adventure is 2 stores down the road. I'm going to Esmeralda's Kitchen. I'm meeting up with a new friend, and she's going to be taking me for some Filipino classics. This is really exciting. I'm here with Hannah, my very new friend. We met in Los Tacos.
Super random seeing you there. I was with my husband, and my husband was like, "Oh, is that Blondie in China?" I was like, "Oh my God, it is Amy."
It was so nice to meet you, and I feel like we really clicked.
So that brings us here.
I think you might like this. It's called kare-kare. It's like a famous Filipino dish with peanut sauce.
And of course, we're pairing that with the essential Filipino carb, garlic rice.
What I am loving is the garlic rice here in the Philippines. It's so fragrant, and I feel like it just lifts the flavor of everything that's put on top of it.
It makes everything taste better. It has beef and a bunch of vegetables. You have string beans, eggplant, and puso ng saging. It's heart of the banana.
I need to try the heart of the banana. Like, that is just a non-negotiable. Thank you so much.
And then you mix it with a bit of bagoong is shrimp paste. The peanut and the shrimp paste really go well together. You like it?
I love it. It actually reminds me a little bit of the satay my mum used to make when we were kids. And back then, she just used to use so much crunchy peanut butter, so it was just full of peanut flavor, and that's exactly what this is. And I love that you've got the crunch from like the peanuts still inside that. It's just the most peanutty thing you can imagine. The shrimp paste just adds an extra umami kick and just another flavor on top of it. I need to try this banana. The texture is almost like fish inside. The banana heart, it's just honestly, it's just a texture. Anything in that sauce is just going to be a texture.
I think the best way to eat Filipino food is to get a bunch of dishes and eat it all together.
So without further ado, let's introduce the other dishes on our table here.
This is gising. I think it's mustard greens with a bit of like chili and spices.
Oh, it smells quite sour actually.
Gising.
Gising.
It's English for wake up, wake up.
I love the food names here in the Philippines. Such cute names. I tried on one of my first days here a snack called Quack Quack. Another behind the scenes moment. We're in this absolutely gorgeous area called Intramuros, which means within the walls. This was a Spanish colony back in the day, so you have a lot of Spanish influence here. And there's just like this little snack stall just outside, and I couldn't help myself. I got this. This is called Quack Quack. And basically it's a quail egg that's been deep fried. Oh, it's so good. It's like batter, deep fried goodness. Inside you have a creamy yolk, quail egg yolk.
And it goes so well with this zingy vinegar dipping sauce.
It's delightful.
Anyway, back to Esmeralda Kitchen, where we're about to try not Quack Quack, but Wake Up, Wake Up.
The dish has a lot to do with its name, Wake Up, Wake Up. It lifts you. It gets into your
punch.
It's got a sourness to it, but also it's got the dried fish in there, so you have that taste.
And when you eat it together with the kare kare, the flavors just work so well, and it somehow actually tastes better when combined.
Now I'm really excited to try the lechon.
sinigang.
This is lechon sinigang, and it's had my mouth watering since the moment it arrived on the table.
Sinigang is like a Philippine version of tom yum. It's a very sour soup, and then they use different types of protein like pork, beef, chicken, fish. In this restaurant specifically, they use lechon belly. So I think that's kind of unique. Everyone here loves lechon.
But this actually isn't my first time having lechon here in the Philippines. My first time was a few days ago when I had the honor and privilege of sampling the lechon from Manila's iconic lechon diva.
I'm not a chef, I'm a diva.
Something really special about Dedet's lechon is it's filled with very interesting things, a very fusion.
It's filled with rice, mushrooms, and truffle essence.
We've already cut into it, but you can see just how crispy the skin is. Look at this. So I've just picked myself off some skin, and I've got some rice, and I have the lean meat as well. This is the Divalicious sauce. It's unreal, spicy and sour. I'm gonna get some of that sauce, put it on the skin, some of the rice. It's so freaking good. And this meat is so tender. This is amazing.
This is what you do. L is for lechon, love.
And oh, how I love lechon. Anyway, let's get back to Esmeralda Kitchen, where we're about to have lechon, but prepared in a very different way.
We've actually put the lechon inside our soup here. And look how you just prod it with the fork and it just like comes apart.
First, I'm just trying that broth itself.
Oh, it's super sour. It's a nice palate cleanser actually, with all the strong flavors around the table.
Try the pork. And I think it goes well with the acidity of the soup.
You couldn't have said it better. You can have the soup by itself and it's really nice, but it is very sour.
Yeah.
But when you have it with the pork, it completely balances out in just the most amazing way. Filipino food is way underrated. So underrated. I think for my personal flavor palette and the dishes that I like to eat, Filipino food is perfect for me because I love fat. And I feel like you definitely get that through, especially through lechon. I love salty, I love umami, I love spicy, but I love sour, and I like to pair heavy dishes with some element of sour. And I love that in most dishes that I'm experiencing here in the Philippines, it's just so well balanced.
I feel like a perfect example of this is chicharron. It's fatty pork intestine that's been deep fried, so you can imagine just how rich it is, but when you pair it with this zingy vinegar dipping sauce, it's magic in the mouth.
I feel like if you don't have the sauce, or the correct sauce pairing, you're missing more than half the story of Filipino food. Because without the sauce, that would be really intense. I'd have one bite and I'd be like, that's probably enough. But with the sauce, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like a salt and vinegar chip. I'm slightly crunchy on the outside. That is so freaking good. You're Filipina. What would you like people to know about food from the Philippines that you feel like they don't already know?
No, I feel like here in the Philippines, most foreigners just know sinigang, adobo, just those dishes, right? But I feel like we have so much more to offer.
At the end of the day, the Philippines is this system of islands, and every island and every area has its own taste profile. That's something that I really learned when I went to Cabel and had a really incredible experience where I got to try dishes from the three main islands of the Philippines, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. What's crazy is how different in taste each of these dishes are. This one here, this soup, it's like sour and really herby, really lemongrassy. This here is actually jackfruit. which is really cool. And it has the texture of potato. And then you have these vegetable fritters, which are just gorgeous. And even though we've been filming and like getting B-roll of these dishes for the last like hour, it's still crunchy. That one's all about the sauce. This is the representative dish of Mindanao, and I've actually learned that it's very hard to go to Mindanao as a tourist. So this is kind of a flavor profile that I wouldn't have had the chance to try otherwise. And it's really interesting because this sauce on top, it's actually charred coconut sauce.
So I'm actually here with the chef of this restaurant, Chef Miguel, and I'm really interested to know about the charred coconut. Is it the charred meat or the charred, like what part of it is burnt?
Actually, the entire meat of the coconut is burned until it's golden brown. It reaches that golden brown stage, and that's what we use to incorporate with all the other spices like fresh root crops like lemongrass, turmeric, ginger, galangal, garlic, shallots.
And what's really cool is it's like combining coconut with like more of a savory and salty flavor profile. And when you mesh it with like the really tender chicken and the skin, I love chicken skin, with that coconut, it's just absolutely unbelievable. My favorite dish on the table.
And more than anything, it makes me want to learn more about the food from Mindanao.
What are like the hallmarks of Mindanao cuisine?
Well, the main characteristic is the use of spices. Of course, the chilies, because the flavor profile is spicy and a lot of coconut milk. So it's the usage of these pre-colonial methods and preparing the spices really that makes it unique and different when you come to Mindanao.
Chef Miguel also has another restaurant called Palm Grill, which focuses specifically on Mindanaoan flavors. And after that phenomenal chicken, I had to check it out.
What are some good dishes to go for?
Aside from the pianggang manok, you can try the blackened beef soup, which is the tula itum. We have sambal over there. We also have our eggplant salad, which we call Mindanaoan ensaladang talong. Those are things that you should want to try.
I've made it to Palm Grill. I've ordered everything that Chef Miguel has recommended. This comes with a touch of theatre.
This one's the blackened beef soup, which is, as the name suggests, black.
It's black because of the toasted coconut.
Oh, toasted coconut in this.
So I guess a similar technique to the chicken we tried at Cabell, but they take that smoked element one step further here. They torch that beef marrow so it gets deliciously charred and bubbly on top. Oh my gosh.
And I've been told you can actually do this and put it inside the soup and eat it together. I was also given an option of how spicy I want this dish to be. Apparently the island of Mindanao is more on the spicy side. I've asked for what the locals would get in Mindanao, so I have no idea actually how spicy this is gonna be. Oh, it's quite spicy actually. Wow, that bone marrow is so freaking good. It just adds that fattiness to it and it kind of permeates through the whole dish. So even when you don't have the bone marrow in the spoonful, you can still taste that fattiness, that fat aspect. It's also quite salty. You can't really taste the coconut as much. It doesn't like hit me in the face. It's not like a coconutty soup per se, but you can taste like a charred quality, which I believe is coming from the coconut. And it is a little bit spicy. Definitely you can feel it. And I've learned that the reason why you find a lot of spices in Mindanao cuisine is it was a little bit more untouched compared to other islands when it came to like colonial influence. So a lot of pre-colonial eating traditions kind of continue to exist there and to this day. And so the food that you can get from Mindanao is very unique in that way and very different from the other islands that have more of a Spanish influence, American influence, Japanese influence, Chinese influence. There are so many different cultural influences here in the Philippines.
And you can really see all of that reflected in Manila's architecture, from Spanish colonial buildings to pockets of Art Deco, as well as strong Chinese influences too, especially in Manila Chinatown, which is actually the oldest Chinatown in the world. I'll be diving more into Chinatown later in this video, but for now, it's back to our black soup.
It's a lovely soup, but it is also super rich in flavor. So I think that's when I'm gonna go in for this eggplant salad. I'm assuming that that's gonna be a little bit more on the zesty side. I mean, those two go together so well. They both pack the same flavor punch, but in very different ways and are lighting my mouth up in completely different areas. Where this is salty, oily, rich, this one is garlicky, zesty. You've got that eggplant goodness. I actually really want to have that with a bit of rice. That's so good. Something the dishes do have in common though is they share that same charred element. I believe that eggplant somewhere along the line has been charred. It's interesting to see. It seems like a real technique of this Mindanao region involves the fire, the charred aspect. And I want to see if that's also present in this third and final dish. This is fish with sambal. That's, I just want to try that sambal. Oh, that is so good. It's got fish paste inside, I know. He came over and he explained what's inside. It's got that umami fish paste taste. Oh, and it's a little bit spicy. Also garlicky and quite gingery as well, quite fresh. Wow. Okay, so I'm gonna get that with the fish. I know I like a dish when I forget about the camera and I come up for air and I realize I haven't said anything. The fish is really actually very meaty and there's not so many bones inside, which I mean, I do love that you can just get it in. And it's also really easy to mix with rice. I love it with the rice because that sambal is so freaking flavorful. Everything goes so well together. I am so obsessed with Filipino cuisine.
One dish in particular lives rent-free in my head. It's actually a Filipino street food.
We're at this really cool night market just along the Pasig River. And I have found this street snack that I've not seen before and I've ordered. It's called a bibingka. And basically the boss is making me a fresh one. It's an egg that's combined with rice batter and then he puts coals on top and then he puts coconut on top of the coals. So right now there's this gorgeous like coconutty, charcoaly fragrance.
What's that?
Cheese.
Oh, cheese, okay. We got some cheese going on there too. Also some salted egg. Okay, there we have it.
Then to finish it off, they add butter and shredded coconut on top.
I think it's the fluffiest pancake I have ever had. It's so thick. And I love the salted egg inside because this is giving like sweet and salty, and I love the coconut on top as well. It's just a cozy, really cozy street snack. I love this so much. And the cheese. The cheese is a whole different side of it as well. Boss, you're the best. This is the best pancake in the Philippines.
But anyway, back to Palm Grill where I'm still finishing off this meal.
You'll be happy to know I made it through my day without getting any food on my sleeves. I spoke too soon. I've soiled myself. Accidentally put an elbow into my black soup. Scheisse.
But the show must go on.
They have something on the menu that just looks so sinfully delicious that I just have to try it. Check out this dessert. So it's a variation of halo halo, which I did have on my last trip to the Philippines. Big fan, by the way. And according to the internet, what's different about this version, the South Mindanaoan version, is it's made with fresh fruit, gelatin, and ice cream instead of the traditional shaved ice. That looks like watermelon on top. Oh, it's watermelon. Not just watermelon, it's like watermelon that's been infused with like cherry flavor. I'm gonna see if I can get deeper. Ooh. That looks like it might be banana. Yeah, it's banana in there as well. Also mango in there as well. And you also have these little green jellies as well. It's nice. I mean, there's not a whole lot to hate about this.
And since we're on the topic of dessert, I want to take you back a few days ago when I had my first ever leche flan.
And that's, again, the Spanish influence coming in, I guess, because leche literally means milk. I know that because I recently walked through Spain and every day I'm like, café con leche, café con leche. So this is a leche flan. And flan is also something that I ate a lot in Spain as well. So yeah, let's try. It's like a super rich and caramelly taste, very, very rich. And the texture is also a lot thicker than flan I've had before.
It's densely creamy, thick and velvety in texture. It's insane.
One of the better flans I've had. From leche flan to leche flan ice cream. This is like the traditional leche flan, but kind of taken somewhere new and modern. This is actually a 1 Michelin star restaurant called Toyo, and the food I've been experiencing here is like Filipino classic dishes but kind of prepared in new and unique ways. I mean, we just had a silog dish that's prepared instead of with chicken egg with fish egg, so it's just really interesting way of reimagining dishes. And this is leche flan ice cream, which is basically that salted caramel goodness that I had from my leche flan just yesterday. But what I love about this is salt. It is the coolest salt I've ever seen in my life, and I want to tell you about it. It's basically prepared in a ceramic pot. Only a few families in the Philippines still make this. It takes over 6 months to make, and inside they have to filter the salt because it's made with seawater. They filter it through coconut husk, and then they take that coconut husk, they burn it, they make it burnt, and then they add that to the salt, so it has a little bit of like a slight burnt smoky taste, and then they grate that on top of the ice cream here, and it's just absolutely unbelievable. And I'm really enjoying seeing like going from really traditional street side eateries but seeing that same flavor in these like really beautiful 1-star restaurants, but just in a new interpretation. Amazing. I think one aspect of the Filipino dining experience that wasn't super touched on in the Michelin Guide this year is the Chinese-Filipino dining scene, which is huge. Actually, right behind me here in Manila, it's home to the world's oldest Chinatown. And yeah, you've got so many restaurants here, old restaurants, new restaurants, they're serving up all different dishes. So I actually already have my first snack of the day. It's just from a store just back there. They've been there for about 40 years already. They sell fresh lumpia. So lumpia is kind of like a spring roll, originally brought over from China and then adapted to, Filipino taste.
And since this is a cold dish, I figured I'd grab a few other snacks on my way and have myself a little picnic.
I came here because some people have recommended it, Binondo Bites. But check out this queue. Ready? One line ends here and another begins. I was not expecting this. I thought, I'm gonna check out like 4 or 5 places today. Time-wise, I may only be able to try a few because there are lines everywhere for the popular places.
And very, very long story short, I lined up for 2 hours. Yes, 2 hours to get my hands on some shengjianbao.
I have to say, part of me was determined not to like this because of how long I was lining up. It was a bit of an energy sapper, to be completely honest with you, but it's really freaking good. I love that the bottom is just so crispy. It's got a soft top. It's bursting with juice. It's got so much sauce inside. But what I love most about this is the Filipino side of it coming out. The sauce is so zesty. It's got some chili inside, a lot of aromatics. It's garlicky. It's a little bit spicy. It goes together so well. I have to say, was it worth 2 hours? Maybe not, but it's definitely worth a line. Now, for the lumpia. I've learned there are many varieties of lumpia. This is a fresh lumpia, but you also have a fried lumpia,
which I actually tried on a work lunch with the Michelin filming team a few days ago at this restaurant in Binondo, which is also apparently the oldest restaurant in the Philippines. And I mean, how amazing do those fried lumpia look?
This one I believe is filled with prawn, and we have a dipping sauce here, like a sweet and sour dipping sauce. Oh, it's so crunchy. These actually remind me of the spring rolls that my grandma used to make, because my grandfather used to spend a lot of time in the Philippines for work, as well as China, all over Asia actually. But I think the recipe that she used for her spring rolls actually came from the Philippines. And it reminds me of her because they're not the most perfect spring roll, but they're the crunchiest, and they're just homey and made with love. And this sweet and sour sauce is really, really thick. It sticks to every part of the spring roll, and it just goes down a treat. Crunchy, sweet, sour, exactly what a spring roll should be. And this is a panciteria. It serves pancit, which is basically noodles. But what's really cool is these noodles were brought over by Chinese immigrants hundreds of years ago and has since been adapted to Filipino taste. So one thing that's really cool is that they have calamansi that you can actually squeeze on top of your noodles. We've got a garlic chili oil here as well. And the variety of pancit we have here is pancit gasado, which is really saucy, also quite starchy, and it looks like that's actually wheat noodles there. So let's give it a try. I've already put on lots of chili oil, a lot of calamansi. The noodles are great, really salty and very soft noodles. You've got that starchy sauce on top there, so it's quite a rich noodle dish. But yeah, with the calamansi and the chili and the garlic, it's just comes together really nicely. I want to just take around these calamansi wherever I go and just squeeze it on things because it just adds such a freshness to everything.
But yeah, this is the kind of food you'll find at a Filipino Chinese restaurant. We also ordered barbecue pork, wonton soup, fried rice, and check out this lemon chicken. I have to say, it all somehow reminded me of Chinese Australian food I grew up eating back home.
Well, welcome back to the present. This is our fresh lumpia that I didn't have to line up for, so I'm gonna give it extra points for that. Also comes with a sauce tied up like this, which is why I waited until right now to eat it. Okay, let's see what I can do here. Ooh, check out this sauce. I thought it was gonna be like a liquidy soy sauce, but it's actually got this really interesting viscosity to it. Okay, let's try. It's good. It just reminds me of like a healthy wrap. You've just got like quite a thin wrapper here. I believe it's wheat based, and then inside you just have a whole heap of veggies. The sauce is like a salty kind of thing. Sauce though, it's defying gravity. Check this out. My friend Hannah, who you met a little earlier in this video, she told me that when it comes to fresh lumpia, the best is always homemade because you can control what ingredients you put inside, you can make your own sauce. And actually, talking of homemade, Hannah has invited me to her house. Their family's actually going to be passing down some recipes, and I get to be there to see them make a really iconic Chinese-Filipino dish.
This is my mom.
Hello.
And my lovely grandmother, my ama.
真的是你很开心.
So today she's about to teach us the recipe. Filipinos know it as kikiao.
五香卷
Do you do this often?
No, not at all. So she really wanted to pass on this recipe to the next generation.
He's 92 years old already.
92?
And if Amma can cook like her skincare routine does, it looks like we're in for a hell of a meal. Amma told me the name for this dish in Chinese is wuxiangjuan. Wuxiang means 5 spice, and the name becomes clear because a lot of 5 spice goes into this. As for the exact ratio of ingredients, this is a family recipe, so my lips are sealed. What was really special though was seeing the whole family come together, gather around, take notes, snap photos, film videos, so that this dish can be passed down to future generations. Once everything's mixed together, the filling is wrapped in thin sheets of bean curd and then it's deep fried until golden and crispy.
And it looks really amazing. Look how bubbly the surface looks. Golden, crispy.
And of course, this is Manila. A bite of food is not complete without something acidic, so it's served with homemade pickles.
So first step, having it just without the pickles, just to taste it. So check it out inside, that's what it looks like. Oh my gosh, it smells amazing. You can really smell the 5 spice powder in there. Oh, amazing. Crunchy on the outside from that really thin skin of the tofu, and then it's hot inside. You can taste the 5 spice. It's quite sweet as well. And then you have the pickles on top. It was good without the pickles, but the pickles are just like adds an extra crunch and acidity, that vinegar tang, and I could eat that for 20 years every day.
But yeah, I have no words. This is an experience I will never forget, and I feel so grateful for being invited here to witness a piece of food history being handed down.
Well, that's going to finish off today's food adventure. I am so happy that I got this opportunity to come here, get deeper with Filipino food culture, and also get more familiar with Manila, for a city that I really didn't have on my radar. I am leaving this week in Manila completely in love with it. Everything from the food, which as you've seen in this video has just been nothing short of extraordinary, but just the warmth and the hospitality of the Filipino people. I don't know if I've just been lucky, but every single person without fail that I've come into contact with, whether it be going into someone's homes or meeting someone in a taco restaurant that suddenly has taken me on this whole adventure throughout Manila and invited me to meet her family, or stepping into the chef's kitchen and feeling their passion and their warmth, is just, I feel really touched by this experience, and I really encourage, if you have the chance and the opportunity, give Manila a try. But yeah, that's going to be it from me today. Thank you so much for watching. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you from next week back in China. Goodbye from Manila.